So Disney Plus has been a juggernaut of streaming since it launched back in 2019. And now with the ongoing sort of battle of censorship from the Trump administration, they've cancelled Jimmy Kimmel's show, his late night show, and it's owned in some way by Disney further up the chain. And people are now urging everyone to cancel their Disney Plus subscriptions.
And they seem to have been losing a lot of cash over it. There's been quite a lot of outrage as well. Like you said, how much was the amount that they seem to have lost?
In subscribers, numbers vary, but it's the best part of about $4 billion, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I think it's people, like you said, we've seen Pedro Pascal come out in support, which is mighty impressive because he's currently the head of basically Star Wars. Mandalorian's the only Star Wars thing at the moment that's got anything going for it really now, and Andor's ended. And he's come out and said, yeah, I support you. And same, he's obviously the head of Marvel as well, isn't he? He's currently slated for Doomsday, and he's going to be the next Iron Man in essence, I think, for story purposes. So quite wild of him to come out in support. Quite impressive as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So props to him. It's definitely a form of censorship, isn't it? It's really frustrating when governments think that they can do this. Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't want to get too political on the podcast, but it's just a whole mess over in America. But I always think of America as being sort of 2-3 years ahead of the UK in terms of political positioning, I suppose. You can already see it with, just the split of votes with even smaller elections across the UK. So it's very interesting to see where it all goes. You mentioned Pedro Pascal. I suppose less surprising of an actress to speak out is actor Tatiana Maslany, who played She-Hulk in the series She-Hulk Attorney at Law. A show that I actually thought was pretty funny. It was quite lighthearted. I think people took it way too seriously. But she just put on her story a photo of her wearing the sort of mark of the green head for She-Hulk, like sort of 2 feet above her own head. And it looks really haunting. And she just said, cancel your Disney Plus, Hulu and ESPN subscriptions. And people have been responding and reposting it saying, well, you're definitely not getting season 2 now, are you, Missy?
Did you see, there's the 2 things I saw is I saw a random guy was stood outside the Disney HQ with a sign saying, did you even watch Andor? Which was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
And
right
so
there.
spot on. Like, you just did an entire show that its whole underlying current is clearly a sort of, a way of talking about almost Israel and Palestine, the whole Mon Mothma and the Senate kind of thing, the Gorman stuff. Yeah, it's what Tony Gilroy is going for. And then you're censoring people. I don't even think Kimmel's thing was that bad. I watched it and I was like, I don't get what he's been pulled off air for. Apparently it was like in the moment as well. Kind of wild.
It's very strange because I think chat show hosts, they often do these monologues at the start of their shows, and they often take the piss out of everyone. And I also think it's not even the most political they've ever gotten. They've done way worse in the last 6 months. Way more explicit criticism of the presidential cabinet. So it's very interesting.
And then also, I saw that Noah Schnapp, so the guy from Stranger Things, he posted his picture of him cancelling Disney Plus. But when you cancel it, the date at the bottom is given away that he just bought the subscription the day before. So he's bought a Disney Plus subscription to then cancel it. So excellent move from him.
But how does that work? Would he have got a refund for that? I don't think so.
No.
Hasn't he just paid Disney?
He's just given Disney money, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you've done there now is the opposite.
Hello and welcome to episode 82 of Movie On Up, this early morning show with us today. I'm your host, Alfie Walker.
And I'm your other host, Adam Barlow.
You don't get a morning special very often. You can probably hear from our voices. We've only just woken up, to be honest.
Yeah, the vocal fry is off the wall today, guys. I just don't even know. Although, admittedly, it has just gone 3 minutes past 10. So it's actually a bit of a line for me this week because I've been whipping around the south from Southampton to Dorchester like a pinball, doing shifts at the BBC, which is very exciting and lots of fun.
I did have a little listen to Adam. Maybe next time you're on the radio, you should post on the Moving Up's Instagram so they can tune in. But I was walking to work and he was like, "Hey, I hope you're listening to BBC Solent Dorset." And I was like, you know what? I should be. And I tuned in. I got one of the games right. They were playing a song in reverse and you had to guess. And I did get that right. And then I got a little shout out on the radio. So Adam's been busy all week in Dorchester doing that. But I'm going to throw this on Adam immediately. We're going to do a super quick game that he's already played this week, where on the radio they had to name as many Muppets as you can, going back and forth between the presenters. So take it away, Adam Barlow. Let's go for it. Name me some Muppets.
Okay, well, the one I started with yesterday was Beaker.
Very good. So I'll go Bunsen.
Kermit.
Miss Piggy.
Gonzo.
Fozzie the Bear.
Is Big Bird Sesame?
You can have that. That's fine.
Okay. Big Bird. Sesame. Big Bird. No. Do you remember that song? Jesus.
Big Minge Energy. Swedish Chef.
Nice. Animal.
Pepe Le King Prawn.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Sam the Eagle.
My favourite. Walter.
Oh, that's the one that's really like bland. It's just a bloke, isn't it? Yeah. Oh gosh. Is it Janice? Is that the
Yeah,
hippie?
well done, mate.
Yeah.
Ralph the dog.
Nice. The old blokes. No, that doesn't count.
Wow, I think Adam's at his end there. Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
That's it, you man.
There we go.
There's so many, Adam. You got Scooter, New Zealand, Rizzo the Rat. If we're going Sesame Street, you got Cookie Monster, Elmo. What's that clip where is it Rocco?
Oh, Rocco, yeah.
Excellent. Bean Bunny.
Rocco is a rock. That was better than the impression I did on air. God damn it! I did an Elmo impression on BBC Radio Solent, and it was dreadful. It was really bad. And I walked into it because they were like, "Well, come on, let's hear it." Then I was like, "Oh no." But anyway, I should have gone for the Rocco line.
I mean, Muppet News, to be honest, since we're talking about it, they've announced Seth Rogen is the showrunner of a brand new Muppet Show for the anniversary next year. They are doing a one-off special with our very special guest, Sabrina Carpenter, which I'm not going to lie, we called this. We spoke on a podcast ages ago about if they redid the Muppet Show now and had guests like Sabrina Carpenter, it would fucking skyrocket. So our FBI agents are clearly listening in and fed back that information to them. I am so excited. Apparently the plan is to do this one-off episode, one-off special, and if it does well, it's going to greenlight a whole new actual series of The Muppet Show 2025, which, mate, I'm I'm going to put it on repeat so I personally just contribute to all these views because I'm so excited, mate.
Yeah, but that does mean you're going to have to uncancel your Disney Plus subscription, Alfie.
You're so right.
No one's going to watch it.
No, well, they've
We're
already
scuppered.
lost 4 billion, so...
Yeah, this is terrible timing. Anyway, let's get on with today's show. The films we're talking about this week, Alfie, bless him, he's been rushed off his feet at the old HMRC. Whey! So we're going to... I'm going to, contribute 2 reviews this week. One for The Long Walk, which is very depressing, so I can't wait to talk about that one. And Sorry Baby.
You're fine, Adam. Don't worry about it. What film did you watch, though?
Sorry Baby.
I know you are, but...
No, I'm sorry, baby. No, it's quite a serious film, to be fair. We shouldn't really be doing that, actually. Yeah, it's a great film, and I can't wait to talk about that one. So definitely stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. Let's start with The Long Walk.
Let's get the misery out the way first. So, the newest film from Francis Lawrence, the director of the Hunger Games trilogy and the prequel, and I presume he's going to do that new one that's coming out, Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yes, he is, yeah.
We have The Long Walk, a adaptation of the Stephen King novel, am I right?
Yep, that's correct. So, it's one of his first books that he wrote, actually under a pen name, and it's quite... You can sort of tell it's an early book in his career. I think Stephen King sometimes has trouble sticking the landing in his films, or in his books, I should say. And I will say that kind of applies to this one. I had a very good time with this film, as depressing and as violent and as miserable as it is, until I would say literally the last 2 minutes, when it makes a decision to go in quite a pessimistic route that I just didn't personally enjoy as much. So that's my sort of overall view of the film. Really loved it until I was slightly let down by the end, and that sort of hindered my overall thoughts of it. So I ended up giving it just the 4 stars, whereas other people have been like 4.5, great film, great movie, what a picture, what a picture.
I mean, I think that's pretty pretty reflected in all of his novels and their adaptations, I think. From what I'm aware, like, yeah, from all the films I can think of, and I know some of them are slightly changed, like The Shining and that, but all of the ones I've watched, they've always got an ending that's like, great. So, I mean, quite on point for him, I guess, but...
Yeah, you're right. This film, it's got a very simple premise. It's called The Long Walk because the whole film was about a group of teenagers who sign themselves up to do this event called The Long Walk in this sort of dystopian... I think it's set in about the 70s or 80s, so it's set in the past, but not the past that we've had. Like, they've had a civil war in America. Political satire.
Maybe it's a fortune.
Yeah, maybe this was actually... We're just going to revoke back to the 70s in 20 years' time, who knows? Or just 2 years' time. Remains to be seen. Anyway, it's a bit like the Hunger Games, actually, in the fact that this is an annual event, and it's broadcast to the nation, although you don't see it broadcast so much as you do in the Hunger Games. You know, you've got Stanley Tucci doing the presenting, and it's a whole big show. They've got outfits and costumes in the Hunger Games. It's a real big event. Whereas the Long Walk is meant to be that same sort of level, but it's clear that the population of the US is much smaller. There's a huge famine going on. You know, everyone's struggling with poverty apart from these higher ups, and I guess the military, who seem to be running the country in some sort of way. So you've got Mark Hamill there playing the Major, who leads this walk, and the whole idea is these teenagers sign themselves up and just keep walking for as long as they can. If they drop below a certain speed, they get a warning, and you need to catch it up within the next 30 seconds. If they don't do that, you get a second warning, and then very shortly after, you get a third warning, which is you being shot and just killed. So it's walk or die. That's the tagline of the film, and it's pretty appropriate, I've got to say.
It's quite a basic premise as well, right? I'm presuming it doesn't go much elsewhere with it either.
No, not really. It's kind of amazing how engaging, though, the directors made it, because for just a group of lads to be walking through the rain, sometimes uphill, sometimes across fields, sometimes through abandoned towns, it could get quite samey. But the conversations that these boys have and the sort of playful tactics that they have to catch others out or to support one another. For example, the lead actors in this film, the sort of main characters, form a little alliance called the Four Musketeers, which is quite sweet. So they're like, right, if anyone drops behind or if anyone is feeling like they need to give up, we're going to hang back and we're going to just take that 30 seconds warning and then carry on going. So the warnings get reset every hour. So you can sort of tactically hang back if you need to.
Yeah, have a tiny
but as long
break.
as you don't get that second warning when you're in trouble, yeah. So it's quite cool that there's no real way of winning it. It doesn't really matter how fit you are or how mentally determined you are. There's so many outside factors like the weather, like your clothing, like the people around you. If maybe one of them triggers you by talking about a parent that you've lost or something, everyone is really just complete. It's an animalistic desire to, not die. That's the only thing. It's just survival. So you've got Cooper Hoffman as the main character, Ray Garrity, who does a stellar job here. I think he's very good. He was great in the SNL film at the start of the year, Saturday Night. Really enjoyed that. He's great again here. He was also in Licorice Pizza, I think, with Paul Thomas Anderson, a film I'm going to try and catch in the next week or so, just ahead of PTA's new film, One Battle After Another. But that's a discussion for a couple of weeks' time. David Jonsson also in here, an actor I know you and I both really enjoy. He was an absolute star in Alien Romulus and again in Rye Lane a couple of years prior to that. Brilliant to see him also doing great work here. It's good that he can do an American accent very convincingly, I'll say that. He's very, very patient. He's a very forgiving and sort of spiritual character here. He really is the rock of this group. Even when Cooper Hoffman he's sort of the main lead, but David Jonsson really catches up very early, and it's actually just more of a double act film, which is an absolute delight. They really have great chemistry and great articulate discussions about life and about death and what they've done. I should mention, at the end of the long walk, they get a load of money, obviously, to get themselves out of poverty, and they also get granted one wish. Not a magical wish, just like a request, like, for example, like you can request a house, or you can request unlimited food or something, and just something random that the government can just set aside and be like, there you go, you've done this incredible task, you've inspired the nation to be more committed to their work. You can have this pen or whatever. That's quite a fun question, actually. What would you ask for if you could request anything?
But we know what the big question for next week is, don't we?
Yeah. Goodness.
What would I ask for? Probably really boring, mate. I'd probably just ask for a really nice house, or a job that I don't hate.
Yeah.
Probably that one.
It's interesting, though, Alfie, that you wouldn't ask for world peace. Have you ever thought that?
I don't think the government can grant that. In fact, I think they're the ones inciting the opposite. But
yeah, true.
Timely satire.
Anyway, Ben Wang plays Hank Olsen, another one of these kids that's also a sort of side character, not quite to the same level as Hoffman or Jonsson, but still very much making a good impression. He adds some much needed comedy to the film. He apparently was the boy in Karate Kid Legends, which we both missed in the end, but apparently did good in that, and he does a perfectly fine job here too. And I'm also just looking at the cast as well. Roman Griffin Davis is in it, who I think played Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit, yeah, absolutely. I only realised that as I was looking at the cast list.
I mean, slight spoilers, I guess, but he doesn't make it very far on the film. So I didn't have time to recognise him, but it's good that he's getting work after Jojo Rabbit, because he was great in that. Yeah, so I had a good time with this. It's very brutal. The violence is actually quite shocking. It's only a 15, and it's one of those where the film starts, you almost forget that the title drop hasn't happened yet. They've already started the walk, and the title, The Long Walk, comes up with a big booming drone just after the first kid gets shot, and they shoot him from behind. The camera does not pan away or anything. Shoot him slightly from behind by the ear and takes his jaw clean off, and his jaw is then just hanging, and there's blood and like the splatter.
Go on, it's a 15.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Ooh,
and
it.
The gunshots are a bit like warfare, where you really feel like the bullets are flying past you. There's one scene that I alluded to earlier where they have to go uphill after already walking for miles and a good, I think they'd already been going for, no, it's the first night, that's what it is. It's the first night, so they can't see very well, the visibility is low, it's pissing it down with rain, and they're then walking up a steep incline, and obviously you've still got to keep that speed going, and it is like being in the trenches. It's just like they drop down, so it's 50 kids, one from each state, and by the end there's only about like 14 left. It's crazy. But I thought it's a really interesting film. It does a great job at keeping your attention. It's optimistic in some ways, it's pessimistic in others. And I think that simple premise works wonders, because everyone can watch this and you almost automatically insert yourself into the film. Like, I've got to say, before the title drop, I was watching it, I was like, you know what, I'm quite a fast walker, I fancy my chances. And then I saw how brutal it was. I was like, oh no.
I think the premise immediately makes you go, I could do that. Like, it's not that difficult. It's just walking. I can walk. And then you think about, like, when you mentioned going up an incline, I thought, imagine, do you remember in Bournemouth walking back to Bailey Point and there was that steep hill? Like, imagine how we felt after you just walk up that. And you could have already been walking for 2 days and then you've got to do that. Like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, very interesting film, I think. It may not be to everyone's cup of tea because it is so violent, it is so brutal and depressing, as everyone said. Like, it's not a film you want to watch and then go out clubbing afterwards. You're going to just want to sit down and be like, oh god, the world's bad, isn't it? But it's also just quite good fun, you know. It's great. Like, it's a great elevator pitch, isn't it? It just works. It does work very well. Admittedly, some of the conversations can feel a bit sappy, when it does get a bit more emotional, it's a bit like, oh well, what's really the purpose of life? I'm like, oh, you're doing this in this film, okay, and it can get a little bit amateur. Like you can tell it's an early book from a sort of teenage Stephen King that's like, oh, and then I'm going to write about the meaning of life when these boys are facing such hardship. And it's a bit like, okay, mate, we get the idea.
This was before he started doing drugs and wrote more interesting stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's no killer clowns in this one, so a bit boring actually. But overall, I had a good time. Would recommend.
Adam's got another film review for you now. It is a filmmaking debut by director Eva Victor. It is Sorry Baby.
It's okay.
How many times can we make this joke in this short episode?
Yeah, we must stop. It wasn't funny the first time. But yeah, no, Eva Victor, as you said, directorial debut, also screenplay, first screenplay she's written, which is very impressive because I thought this was watertight. This is incredible. I loved this film. It's 5 out of 5 from me, genuinely up there, top 3 films of the year. I've come out the gate swinging. Let me explain why.
Yeah, right. You've gone balls to the walls with this one, mate.
I have. Sometimes you've got to just got to take a big swing, you know, and I think this really works. It's an A24 film. It's very introspective, and it's, I guess, light spoilers, but this is sort of the premise of the film. So Eva Victor stars as well as Agnes, the lead character in this.
Oh, right, okay.
Who is a very, very well-educated, very intelligent, slightly introverted character who went to college with her friends and I think studied like a doctorate or something. It was like a very high-end study of literature, basically. And the main sort of point of the film is about sexual harassment and how you recover from that and how you find value within yourself. So Agnes is about 20 minutes in. It's sort of told in chapters, but the second chapter reveals what actually happened. One of our teachers clearly is very very polite about her work, like really inspired by the things that she writes, and is busy with a divorce, can't see his kids at the weekend, you know, it's a whole ordeal for him. And this character played by Louis Canchelmi, by the way, played Decker. I think interestingly this film actually in some weird way makes his character almost quite, I don't want to say likeable, but it's weird. You sort of feel for him, which is obviously strange, but I think the way that this film's written is so articulate and nuanced that it's kind of amazing that it's managed to do that when also he's raped this character. He's raped Agnes, completely taken advantage of her, which is obviously horrendous. But the way that the actor plays it and the conflicted feelings that Agnes has afterwards about like, well, I don't want him to go to jail because then he's just a bloke that's gone to jail. I want him to stop doing what he's done, to stop behaving like that. That's so nuanced. That really does start a discussion. And I think this film should be played in schools. I think it's so good. It almost evokes similar feelings for me as that film called How to Have Sex, which came out a couple of years ago. And yeah, it obviously deals with similar topics. Actually, they make a great double bill. Very different settings and different characters, of course. But anyway, I just thought it really worked very well. The script writing is so good. So given that topic, it obviously has time to delve into a lot of side effects of this event, how she then lives her life afterwards. She just lives in fear, doesn't really leave the house all that much. Her housemate, played by Naomi Ackie, a character called Liddy. Naomi Ackie, by the way, always brilliant. I know we watched the Thursday Medical Club. She was all right in it, fine. Totally did her job okay. But in this, it's like a whole nother level. It's really strange to see her do Thursday Medical Club and then this as well in the same month. She has so much range, and it almost feels like a film that's almost like a documentary because it's just so real. Like the opening scene is a very quiet scene of Naomi Ackie and Eva Victor, their characters coming together to spend a week together and just catch up after college. It's a good couple, 2-3 years down the line, maybe more than that. And they have a discussion about romance and about relationships that they've had, but in a way that it's like they've just stuck a camera in front of two friends and it's so goddamn authentic. I don't think there's been a film this year, unless we're counting We Live in Time. This is the first film since that where I've really felt that these two people are properly existing, and they're not actresses playing characters. They are real people going through real things, and it's really, really great. Alfie, you have to catch it. It's only had a small release, but I just want to sing its praises. So yeah, as I said, heavy subject matter, dealt with in a really respectful way, and the way that the title actually is folded in and given meaning towards the end, this is right at the end, I won't spoil that, that's also like really brings a tear to your eye. I think you'd be hard pressed to leave this film without being like really sad, but also it's uplifting in such a weird dynamic, a bit like The Long Walk, but The Long Walk doesn't quite stick the landing, whereas Sorry Baby actually excels on it and actually gives you something else to think about afterwards, which is so great. Dark subject matter aside for a second, it's also really, really funny. What a great duality to bring out in your first script, in your first turn as a director, and you're starring in it. I don't know how Eva Victor's pulled this off, but you know what? It reminded me of Fleabag in some ways, where that's really depressing as well, but also so uplifting and so goofy and funny and really authentic to real life. She reminds me of an American Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which I think is high praise. I know Phoebe Waller-Bridge has done some questionable work since with like the Solo film, and she wasn't great in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, but you know, she shows up and she does second passes at scripts every now and then. I can see Eva Victor doing similar stuff, but still having the likability to be able to star in films and not take away from them, as Phoebe Waller-Bridge sometimes does. No offense. I do think she's sort of written herself into a bit of a, corner, I guess, with the work she does. But anyway, Eva Victor, what a talent, what a discovery, and thank you to A24 for committing to making these films that have such a small budget, but it's just so committed to telling a story and to telling a singular vision, because it's shot well, the music's gorgeous, and this is a bit of an aside, but my last point to make is I do think that Agnes is a very good portrayal of an autistic character or a neurodiverse character. It's kind of hard to tell if she was like that before the incident, because it may well be that she's just become really reclusive afterwards and sort of really withdrawn from human interaction. But it certainly felt in some scenes, especially with her boyfriend that she later sort of finds, played by Lucas Hedges, a guy called Gavin. Their romance is so damn adorable. Like, they are both really blunt with each other, but not in a harsh way, just like in a totally, there's no walls there at all. Like, they both feel totally comfortable to talk about anything. And this, I mean, again, slight spoilers, but there's a scene towards the end where they share a bath together, which is such a moment for Agnes's character to do that, to be so vulnerable again. There's a moment where Gavin is like taking his clothes off and he's like cupping his dick, right? And she's like, don't worry, I've seen it before. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. He's about to step in and she's like, wait, can I just look at it? And there's a shot, like, you don't see it, but there's a shot where she's just like really inquisitively looking at it and like studying it and being like, and like moving her head and like really, really taking it in, which is just such a, I don't know, like, I feel like that's a really relatable thing for heterosexual couples, which is just really like unique to that. I don't know, I've never seen that captured on film before. I'm like, that totally happens. I don't know what the fascination is there, but there we are. It was really heartwarming, but also it brings up a lot of great points about the way that society reacts to sexual harassment, and how the courts and how the doctors are not always the most understanding in these situations, but how friends can be absolutely integral to your recovery, and how you can still go on and live life to the full afterwards.
It sounds to me, and I'm a huge fan of this, where it feels like a film similar to After Sun, in the way that you've got a brand new director, a brand new writer, debut film, releases something and absolutely fucking knocks it out the park and establishes themselves as like, wow, like going forward, I can clearly see you are going to do amazing work. Something with like a real meaning to it and a real message to put forward, and it sounds like the film does it. In the same way After Sun for me, it didn't hit off as much in the cinema, but when I've watched it again, I really, really have enjoyed it and appreciated the message. And this sounds like on the same vein almost, where it's this director knew what they were going for first time writing and has set themselves up to like go on and continue writing some absolutely good stuff going forward.
Yeah, you're totally right there. A bit like Past Lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we ignore materialists, Past Lives was really good. Yeah, Sorry Baby, definitely one to watch. Possibly just catch it at streaming because it's not had the biggest release, unfortunately, which is a real shame. I don't think it's made a lot of money, but it also had a very, very small budget, which you can't honestly tell because the cast is good. Like, Naomi Ackie's not a small actress. Lucas Hedges has been in other stuff. Kelly McCormack plays a really sour character, but also even she gets a bit of relatability, and it's like, oh, actually, she's not just a caricature. There's a reason as to why she's so bitter all the time. John Carroll Lynch, only in it for one scene, but an absolute highlight. Just really, really great. And comes along and just gives Agnes a sandwich after she's had a panic attack driving. And it's such a great example of how, life can be an absolute bitch, but also every now and then, if you're feeling low, all you need is like one good person that owns a sandwich shop that gives you a free sandwich and just chats to you about something random that makes you laugh. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I've got the energy to keep on going for like another few weeks. It's just really nice.
John Carroll Lynch always plays characters like that. I think I've only seen him about 3 things, but everything I've seen him in, he just plays this like, he was in The Walking Dead and did the same thing where he just turned up for one episode and it was just one episode where he's really impactful and meaningful and has a purpose and then leaves. And I've seen him in other stuff doing that as well.
Yeah. Well, the exception of Zodiac.
Let's bring up the tone of the podcast with a dystopian themed big question. Go on, Adam. Take it away.
This week's big question.
I love that this segment is stuck about, mate. I thought it would be gone after 3 episodes.
It's wafer thin, isn't it? But it just works.
Wafer thin.
Wafer thin. That should be one of them. Would you like a wafer thin mint? If we ever get bored, we don't have any other backup questions. So this week's question was, would you rather enter The Long Walk or The Hunger Games? I thought there's a bit of a through line there with the director, so why not put it to the people? And Alfie, we got some good engagement this week.
Loving it. Let's hear everyone else, and then we can give our verdicts, I'd say.
So it was 75% in favour of The Hunger Games and 25% in favour of The Long Walk. We had 20 votes in total, so you do the maths. I've got to say, I don't know if I agree.
Yeah. I don't think they've watched the film, Adam.
No. I mean, it's kind of funny that this director's done. I think he didn't do the first Hunger Games, but he did the other ones since, right? Okay. But it's interesting that these films are so similar because there's only one winner. Everyone else dies, okay? But I guess in the first Hunger Games, don't Katniss and the other one and also,
Peter.
Don't they both win?
Yeah, the whole thing is that they beat the system and 2 of them survive, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe the Hunger Games... Okay, if we're taking that one very niche example of the Hunger Games, then maybe you've got a better chance of survival, right?
And then, I mean, the second one as well, loads of them survive because they all break out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so...
All right.
Yeah, I think you've got way more chance of living in the Hunger Games, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then that makes my whole point null and void.
Go on,
but
continue.
I was going to say, the Long Walk is just walking, right? No one is actively... Well, most of the time anyway. No one other than the rules of the game is there to kill you, right? Whereas the Hunger Games, it's not like that's walking, that's running as well, but it's also like gunfire and arrows and grenades and traps and just, I don't know, falling from heights or whatever else. I've only seen 2 of the films. I don't know what I'm saying, but
I think they booby traps. I think you'd absolutely have more chance surviving the Long Walk. Yeah, you've, like you said, 52 people in the Long Walk. Is it how many states there are? No clue. That's terrible of me. And you've just got to walk, which, like you've said, is pretty abhorrent conditions and stuff. But yeah, in Hunger Games, they are actively seeking to kill you and maim you, and like some of them torture each other.
But then actually, I'm thinking maybe with the Hunger Games, right, you can kind of have a bit of fun with it, where in a sort of sick way.
Either way, you're dying. Yeah, I think you're right. Whichever one
Yeah.
you choose, you're not winning. You're straight up dying. So maybe go out with a bang.
Exactly. Because the long walk, you just get tired and you might go like mental and you might just start screaming or just sit down on the ground. But the Hunger Games, you're going to set up a trap or something. You're going to go out taking out 3 or 4 people with you, surely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to go on an absolute blitzkrieg. It's going to be mental. That's way more fun. Yeah, actually, I've changed my answer. The Hunger Games is it.
Hunger Games it is. Too right.
And in some ways, the big question is going out with a bang for every episode of this podcast. Shall we wrap it up?
We had a fairly low-key week this week. As I said, I was busy. Adam was busy. He caught 2 films. But next week, we're going to have an absolute treasure trove of things to talk about. Adam Barlow has got 3 films next week. Tell him, what are you going to watch?
Yes, I've got a multimedia screening of The Roof Man with Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst in there. Peter Dinklage as well, I think, in a small role.
Pun intended.
Oh, no.
That was a low blow.
We've also got One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film I referenced earlier. I've booked to see that in 30mm in the Leicester Square Odeon, which is quite exciting. And the other one I will catch is Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie in A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which is apparently not very good, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt.
And then Adam's also off to an Empire placement next week, guys. Wish him well for that on all the sock meds. And then you've also got this Greg James thing, haven't you? What's that about?
Yeah, so it's his new book, and he's doing a sort of mini tour to a few places across the UK with a different special guest at each venue. So for the Monday night in London, which is what I'm going to, he's got Bella Mackie, his wife, an author in her own right as well. She's very good. But the interesting thing is the first 30 tickets bought at each venue also have a meet and greet. So I'm going to meet and greet Radio 1's Greg James.
Oh, that's cool. You're a big fan of him. You're always posting about him. That's cool. Nice one.
Yeah. Dare I say, in some ways, if like aside from the film passion that I have, really the sort of driving force for me going on a journalism course was A, because I was good at writing, and B, because I wanted to do radio, which I'm sort of already, I've kind of achieved. But it was Greg James that inspired that back in 2018. I kind of have him to thank for doing journalism.
You should tell him that. He'd probably like that.
I should, yeah. Maybe I will.
If you want to,
maybe I won't.
Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be too embarrassed and I'll just mumble at him.
I love you.
Adam, I'm sure, will be posting all of this on the social media, which you can follow. What are our handles, Adam?
At journalist Adam Barlow for probably where I'll post that, but I'll also put a bit on at Movie On Up, which is the same for Instagram and TikTok. So do drop us a follow on both those platforms, please and thank you.
No emails this week. So what's going on, guys? Come on. All 2 of you. Plenty. Josh, send an email in.
Come on, guys, please.
Or anyone else who would like to send an email in. We'd really appreciate it. We've asked forever and we've never gotten one. So pull your finger out and write us a fucking email. The email address is hello@moveonup.com. Once again, please email in. Give us a review. Give us some feedback. Tell us about your life. Anything. Just a bit of communication. We know there's 20 of you listening, so...
I've just had the mental image of like the absolute explosive anger of you asking people to send an email in. Josh's emails, I mean, Josh, I know you'll be listening. Your emails can get quite lengthy, which I love.
Yeah,
they're very detailed.
Yeah, we're not slating
and very well written. No, not at all. Keep them coming. But it has put the mental image in my mind of what if there was such a thing called the long email, where you've got to read an email, and if you stutter, you get shot.
I would be dead as quick as Jojo Rabbit is. Josh Brooker would win.
Yeah, he
His
would.
emails are so eloquently like constructed, and the punctuation is always like so perfectly. It's one of those things where I would like to say we both did journalism courses. We both got A stars. That's not what you get at uni, is it? We both got firsts. We're both quite good at reading and writing. But Josh's emails always throw me for six because they're at the point where they're so well written and punctuated that it becomes difficult to read.
Yeah. He's using words I've never heard before. Like last episode, I think it was, when he sent an email in. It was a common word, but he dropped the first little prefix off it,
Yes.
which apparently still works. But it really threw me. I was like, this is not a word. Has he missed that off? And you were like, no, actually, Adam, that does work. I was like, oh, okay. And we had to do like the same paragraph like 3 times.
If you put Josh's emails unedited into this, you'd just hear us stop every sort of couple of sentences and go, what's this word? I've messed up here.
Yeah. Or you'll go, this is the point of the film of the fuck. It's so funny. But that's on us. That is totally on us.
So yeah. Anyway, please email in. Once again, it's hello@movieonup.com.
Any final words of advice or affirmation that you want to give the listeners, Alf?
Every time you do this, right, all it makes me think is that I for sure would never ever be able to do stand-up comedy because I am so bad at coming up with stuff on the spot. Yesterday on the radio, you went, it was about Shirley Bassey, and he was like, I'm sure you don't listen to Shirley Bassey, Adam. And you were like, well, she is in my Spotify Wrapped. And it was so quick. I thought, like, bloody hell, Adam, spot on. You need to go to improv class.
Well, there was also another moment. I know we keep mentioning it now. We were talking about a new train that clears the lines of leaves, something, and then they put it to a public vote what they should call it, and the winner was Control-Alt-D Leaf, which is, I mean, fantastic. But like, obviously, you get the regular ones where it's like Leafy McLeaf face, and the presenter was like, "Yeah, strangely, we didn't call it that," and I went, "I'm surprised." Control-Alt-Delete is pretty, that's incredible. Incredible work. Well done, British public.
Yeah, pretty abysmal most of the time, but sometimes really do go out of our way.
Move It Up listeners excluded from the word abysmal, of course.
Cheers for listening.